People usually treat brand as some colors, logo, some text, which is pretty plain. But for me, brand is an infrastructure that helps people to understand what you stand for.
Today I'm joined by a chief communication executive who spent over a decade in games and tech. She built the global communication function at a mobile studio with over 290 million downloads, making brand a core part of how the company operates and grows.
So brand is about clarity. No brand, no clarity. Everyone is doing just their own job in some different ways. And that creates a lot of frictions between the teams inside your company. People hire employees who are working job for money, not thinking about the mission, the goals, the vision of the company. Just pay me and I will do my job and close my laptop at 6 p.m. and that's all.
We talked about why studios should define vision and brand from day one, and how a lack of clarity creates friction between teams, slows production, and can increase costs. We also get into why hiring and game decisions become harder when no one clearly understands where the studio is going and what to do about it.
If you have no trust, every time you start with the very beginning, companies that were investing in brand, they make 10 to 20% more money in future because they have created this kind of trust and people understand what to expect from this company.
From someone focused on building long-life, community-driven games and aligning brand, product, and team under one clear direction, please enjoy this episode's guest, Chief Communication Officer at ZiMAD, Anastasia Zaiceva. Anastasia, welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you and thank you for having me here.
Pleasure to have you. Great. Today I'm very excited for today's topic. So we're talking about brand. We obviously come from a mobile gaming background, but we're going to cover brands for all things studios. And I want to give a quick background on yourself because this is really cool because you're the Chief Communication Officer at ZiMAD, which is a global mobile game studio, but your background has been in studio branding, communication strategy, aligning branding, community, and all the missing pieces putting together. So before we get straight into it, maybe a quick intro for people at home, just what to expect from today's conversation and what we're going to get into. Maybe you can share kind of why you wanted to talk about this topic today.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the main point of this topic is that people usually treat brand as just some colors, logo, and some text, maybe something like this, which is pretty plain. But for me, brand is it's like an infrastructure that helps people who are outside the studio or who are working at studio to understand what you stand for. What's your, like the foundation of the studio, what you do, who are your players, what like products do you produce and other things. It's not just like, the plain colors and logo. It's something more.
Yeah. And why does this matter? I guess like, because you've seen this firsthand, you've probably seen a studio with a brand, without a brand. So why has it mattered, at least in your experience?
It all about clarity because if you don't understand what's in front of you, then you can't understand the internal things, internal processes, who you hire, what are the teams do you have, how decisions are made inside your company. So brand it's about clarity. No brand, no clarity. Everyone is doing just their own job in some different ways. And that actually creates a lot of frictions between the teams inside your company, between the processes. And for sure, it can give you additional costs on the production of your game, just because people, they do not understand each other. They do not understand what they are doing in general, like in the whole studio and the whole sense.
Yeah. It's very interesting you say that because you didn't mention the visuals once there. You talked about like how people behave and then clarity. And you also talked about who to hire, who not to hire. And I think a lot of people listening to this may not have thought brand equals that. So it's interesting how like brand is connected to culture as well. Like, do you feel like they go hand in hand? Are they different?
For me, brand is more about emotions that people feel when they are dealing with the product or with the portfolio, with the game, with the studio. So the emotions, they are built on some fundamentals, like what are you talking about? Who is your player? What is the game that suits your portfolio? It's not about just the visual or how do you look like, what color do you use for your branded materials. It's something more. It's about like feeling that people who see your brand, they understand what you stand for.
Hmm. Alrighty. I've done this in a few workshops I've done before, and I'm wondering if it's a good format for today. I'm wondering if we could maybe try to split this into like three parts where we go like super beginner level. I have no idea what to do with my brand. I'm just starting something new. And then we move on to maybe someone who's got like me. I have a couple years, I have a brand, I have multiple brands. I'm thinking to consolidate them. I have existing companies, I have existing clients. How do I navigate that? And then maybe we can go to like people who have big budgets and I don't understand why they're spending hundreds of thousands on a logo, and maybe get your opinion on that. And like, what happens when you get to that big stage? I'm wondering if we can use that frame for today. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Alrighty. So, in the example of a beginner, if I am in the games industry and I'm listening to this podcast and I'm developing a game, I'm going to develop a team, studio, I have big ambitions and I don't know where to start. What should be my first step? Should I even be thinking about the brand before I develop something? Should I be thinking about the brand after I develop? Like, I'm wondering what goes through your mind when you try to tell someone how to start thinking about brand in games.
I would say you should start thinking about brand from the very beginning, just because the vision is a part of branding, also is a part of branded strategy. And when you start like building something, you are just thinking about where you should go, because people who see the finishing line, for example, people who are running, they run 20% faster, and that's our a thing that is really well known in your marketing for
Wow.
like
I
your
didn't know that. That's really interesting because
yeah.
I think that happens to me on the beach next to in my house in Cyprus. When we run on the beach, I always run faster because we run 5 lengths of the beach and I can see the end every time. All right, let's just go. That's so interesting.
You've experienced, when you go somewhere, when you're traveling, sometimes the road to the point looks like longer than you're moving to your home, like again. And that's basically how our brain works. When we see the finish line, we are doing things faster, better. We are more dedicated because we know that there is a finish line. Like somewhere in our future, we are going to obtain this or that things. That's why vision is a big part of branding, and it's very important because when you hire people, and that's where we are moving to the team, because when you are building products, you need people, yeah, inside a team, even if you are like at the level of the very beginning of your studio. Let's say you're not alone who is creating the game, so you need teammates, and you need to explain people where do you go, or where do you go with them, or what help do you need from them, because you want to reach some kind of finish line in the future. And that creates more clarity, that creates the infrastructure, like the whole infrastructure for all the processes inside your company, and that creates more clarity and more starting points for your portfolio, because you are thinking about, okay, these people can help me to create those kind of games. For example, you found lots of people who are hyper casual game, for example, professionals. So, and you understand that it's probably will be easier for you to start creating hyper casual games with them. Or you found folks who were creating console game or PC game. So you start with this point, yeah, and you're trying to explain everyone what you're doing in this period of time, what's your vision for the future, and how you are trying to reach from the starting point to the finish line. That's also a part of branding strategy, actually, because people never understand that, you know, for most of the people in the industry, branding is something like maybe, I don't know, like Apple or Coca-Cola needs branding, but we don't. But actually, it's not true. Like everyone needs branding. Even in an employee, when he or she enters the company, they need personal branding because they need to explain people, or like the main points that they support, how they work, how they build processes, how they build team, how they take responsibility is also part of personal branding. So that's where we can start, I would say. And another part is to understand who is your customer, who is your preferred gamer, because you know already who you are, what's your team, your vision and finish line. You understand your products. So you need to find people who will play your products and bring you more money. Um, I would say that would be the entry level for everyone.
Yeah, it's interesting. We are trying to understand, I guess, the puzzle pieces we need first before we even start thinking about getting a vision or a brand. And you want to first start with understanding who we are talking to, but also what do I want to do? What do I want to be known for beyond let's make more money and let the money go up? Like you
Yep.
want to be specific in, okay, how are we going to get there, right?
Yeah.
And
Sometimes money spoil everything.
yeah,
And when people they start making more money, they start to observe the features which bring more money or the metrics or something like this. And sometimes it can spoil your like visionary line and
yeah.
your line.
And
And
I think hurt the business too.
yeah, that's also a kind of a unit economy that you can have, but probably when you find yourself in 5 years, for example, in completely another like ending point, not one that you have started with, and sometimes maybe you understand that it's not that you wanted to see. It's not the game that you wanted to build. So you wanted to build, for example, an educational product. Then you understood that you are just trying to follow the metrics or follow the analytics dashboards, and then you can probably see any other situation or any other outcome that you.
You lose direction, right? And we feel like if you're gonna, especially in the games industry, you need some sort of direction because, like you say, if you just follow data, then
Sure.
effectively, why would you win over someone who, yes, is following data, but is like focused? You know, and I feel like the person who's focused will win more times than not. Like I
uh,
guess that's how I think about it.
like people say that where your focus is where so you can find results here. If
Mm.
you are focused, then you can find some kind of result on working on the same tasks, same activities, same projects, same vision, and even doing a small step in in a year or in 2 years, you can find you in completely another situation.
Mm.
So
So how has that been in your journey? Because you've probably seen a few examples of this. So I'm wondering
yeah.
how has your understanding of branding evolved? Like I'm wondering, was there ever like a before and after aha moment? You were like, wow, I didn't realize how powerful branding was, or wondering in your story if you witnessed anything like that.
Yeah, sure. I worked for several mobile gaming studios, starting from hyper casual to AAA PC games, console gaming, like World of Tanks, which was distributed across different platforms, for example. And when I joined Wargaming, I was like 24 or 25 years. I was a PR manager for CIS region. I had no possibility to influence branding or branding strategy, and I even like didn't know what's going on. But the thing that I felt from the very first day at the company, that people are making really important things. And that was distributed across all the channels, not just for the players, that the game is super popular. It's like a major game in the industry if we are referring to like war games or war simulators, let's say like this. And when you join the company, you understand that the game is a real hit. Everything was like, the whole atmosphere of working rooms was like people were proud of what they are doing. They were
How
like,
did you see it? You said you had this feeling of importance. Like, how did you see that?
you have just a feeling how people behave, how they work on their tasks. No one made like people made mistakes, but like people were responsible for the things they are doing, and they really felt this responsibility, and they were really proud of the projects we created. when, for example, we had events, and when the photographer asked people to go to the stage to make a group photo, everyone had like on calendar. No other things were, planned for this time, because people, they really felt like a part of the team, which is
Yeah.
creating something really great. So that was like a feeling that was everywhere, in the atmosphere, in the projects, in the communications to the players, in the sub projects, or like I had the possibility to work for Steven Seagal project for branded aircraft, for example. And when you see the scale of this project, you're like, just wow, wow,
Yeah.
that was really major thing.
I'm wondering, I'm listening to that and I want that, right? I'm building a team. I have 8 full time. I got a few interviews lined up for next year and I want to grow to like 14 people probably this year. And that sounds great. But I'm wondering, where do you think that came from? Like, can you engineer that feeling through brand? Like, where does that ethos come from? Like, is that all top down where it will come from their managers and founders and then people emulate? Or how do you feel? How do you like get that feeling?
I mean, that starts from the founders. I would say, even in the companies where I started from the beginning working on brand, everything is just, goes from the founders, from the C levels, how they communicate about the company, how they tell you about the projects, the products, what type of wording they use in their speeches, for example. Are they feeling confident about what they are speaking about? Or, it's just like a really solid thing, which is distributed across all the channels of communications. How the onboarding for employees was designed, for example, because you were forced to have 2 days working course on how to work in the company, because
Mm.
for most studios, it's like, it sounds like impossible, because you just hire a person, and you just give the tools, the quick intro of who they are working with, quick intro of I don't know, like some kind of playbook, some kind of welcome book, some kind of, I don't know, like any other docs which would be helpful for their work, and that's all. But for a bigger studio, it's more about what tools do we use, how we communicate to other people, how we build the internal communications, where do you get the information from? If you need something, you go to this person. If you need some kind of, I don't know, like products inside, you go to this person. So it's a system of clarity in between all the teams and all the employees.
Yes, I'm jealous. I want that now.
Yeah.
I did
And
onboarding
I
and
take
I
it
only
I
gone.
took it for granted. I thought that it could be like everywhere. I thought it just like maybe
Yeah,
some kind of tech thing, because wargaming was my first tech job, and I was like, that sounds really nice. Maybe
makes
for,
sense, right? Seems
yeah,
logical.
because when you give all the tools, when you give the information, people know how to operate this information. And when you give nothing, then people are just curious, and they could be, even about when they are going to, I don't know, like to the conference or anywhere, and how they talk about their jobs with their friends, for example, or with their relatives. It also matters, because one person has this information and knows how to communicate to their friends, for example, how to tell about the company where they work. It also creates this kind of clarity, because even the friends, maybe they are not your potential employees, but who knows in future.
Of course, right. I mean, you're looking at someone who's hired both of his brothers, will hopefully hire his girlfriend, and thinking of hiring a cousin. And these people would not come unless I've very repeatedly, whether they like you or not, talk about what we're doing, right? And then it's like, ah, that's interesting,
And
or that's
that's
we should join.
actually a really great trend when you make your employees your ambassadors. They have this
Yes,
understanding of what your brand stands for. They have this information to communicate
big
to
in the
others.
games industry, right?
Yeah, sure. And if they're proud of working in your company, then they will tell everyone that they are proud of.
Of course. I'm thinking about what you said. That sounds really nice. I actually had, I know it wasn't perfect onboarding, but I was really proud of it because the people who went through it were very happy. But I just realized the onboarding was only about writing. So I hire content writers. And I just realized not everyone uses Slack. Not everyone is used to Zoom. Not everyone is used to communication with clients. Not everyone knows how to go to a conference. Not everyone knows that you can actually ask for help. You don't have to spend a day on the problem. And I'm realizing, yeah, they will learn that with time. But then hearing you said that, I was like, why don't I just put that in a 2 hour workshop and just make sure everyone has that information at the same time? And I don't
Yeah.
know why I haven't thought about that, but like with writing, it made sense. But hearing you say that, it all comes back to that word clarity. Like I didn't expect this conversation to go this way, but it's really interesting. Like it seems so obvious now, but like I'm not doing it, and I'm like I want to do that now.
Cool. So
Yeah,
I'm happy that you heard me. Let's go
yeah,
to another level, like middle companies,
yeah. Let's do
because
it.
we need to add more clarity here. After defining what's your portfolio vision, who is your client, we need to understand how to reach this client with your messages. So we need to create a pool of communication channels that help you to, to spread this news, spread the
Yeah,
information about the company, about the employees, about the projects, I don't know, like partners, uh, anything that matters for your business, anything that could be monetized, for example. Uh, Sometimes it differs from one company to another because it also differs from the monetization model that you have or the platform that you are distributed at. For example, for mobile gaming companies, that should be, I don't know, like
could we
stores.
try something? I have an idea.
Yeah.
You're hiring a game designer.
Okay.
How would you build an employer brand and community channels to make a game designer want to work? Like, I'm wondering if we can use that as an example. Like, when you say
Um,
communication channels, like, there's a loads of things that we can do. Like, my
sure.
default is LinkedIn, and I'm currently cross posting on like Instagram and Twitter. But I'm curious, like, from your perspective, like, I only done what I think is okay, but I'm curious, what do you do?
On the number of employees who are working on social media, for example, you have. For us, we are mainly concentrated on LinkedIn. And for example, I can tell you the story of working on LinkedIn because we started working. I mean, I work at the company for years already. So we started with the LinkedIn. We had like a small brand book, just colors, typography, and other stuff. But after we hired actually a brand manager from Board Game,
Oh, nice.
we started to work on completely another level of branding for LinkedIn because we started to collect the messages, collect the strategy of communication for this platform because we understood that we need to get more valuable partners and
Yeah.
get more professionals from this social
I'm
media.
gonna start sharing my screen because you guys are one of the few they do this quite well. So just for people at home, follow account goes up when you apply for a role, yes, but I'm I'm not sure, but I don't know if they got 9,000 applications. So there's a lot of growth happening organically. So I'm wondering if
Actually,
this.
most of our followers are organic followers.
There we go, sweet. So yeah, maybe how were you doing LinkedIn employer branding when you started versus now? Like, what's the biggest difference for people?
Yeah, I will tell you in numbers. For example, let me check the latest numbers. So we had 200% more followers last year. We had 34% of impressions and 113% in engagement. So it's just last year. So what we created a scope of posts and scope of topics, I would say, that we are working on. Because our main idea was that people, like strong professionals, really want to work with strong professionals. So we need to talk
Mm.
more about our employees, their beliefs, their vision, their mission, how they work. What's important for them because people they nowadays they are looking for people, they are not looking for cookies in the kitchen, they really want to work with the professionals who empower them, who help them to grow, who help them to get some more valuable insights on the industry, because people understand that artificial intelligence give no chances for those who are not growing these days.
Hmm.
Now, if you are working with a team who really helps you to get new skills, to understand what's going on, and to grow together, for example, to exchange opinions, to exchange knowledge, then it would be really, really cool for you. So, yeah, that's what we started. We started to tell more about our employees, because I know lots of companies who never tag their employees because they're really scared that maybe someone will, try to, to approach to your employee and
I
to,
don't get that. It's because if you're scared of that, then maybe something needs to be fixed.
yeah,
If they
yeah,
were thinking of leaving, maybe make them enjoy staying more.
yeah, I feel the same. Because like people, if like corporate life is not slavery. If you are not a fan of your company and if you do not believe in what company is doing right now, so you will find another one.
Like I use dating as the analogy for everything I can, and I think it's very relatable. It's like if you're afraid to go out with your boyfriend or girlfriend because you're afraid they would go to someone else, there's a different problem. Like
Yeah,
that's not the problem to solve. You don't leave the house. That's
yeah.
not that's not the solution. The solution is fix the relationship, guys.
Yeah, because sometimes, sometimes you are not scared of the action itself. Sometimes you are scared about something will go in a different way. And our brain usually wants things remain the same because it's
Mm.
easy for our brain. Our brain is not designed to have challenges every day or get new information. It's more about, saving the energy and making the same thing every day. So,
Well,
yeah.
this did really well. I like so this is interesting where I'm thinking of this for my business now. So what I was planning to do is we're LinkedIn personal branding, right, for game studio founders. So we
Yeah.
have content writers and everyone on their one-to-one that I did a week ago had a personal goal to post on LinkedIn. So my goal was to encourage them to do that and give them support. This is an interesting way to do it, where if someone doesn't want to do that, but they can contribute to an article on the company page, because that makes the company page human, which is not easy to do. So I found this as an interesting way to do it, and it clearly works.
You understand that most of the studios they have paid chat GPT and they can ask for content creation like numerous articles. But if they are not humanized, then you will have the same information that all the other studios are
Yeah,
doing right now. Because what matters right now is your personal approach. So what we just did is just adding more employee stories. Sometimes it's mistakes, sometimes it's lessons learned, but that's something that people really want to have. They want to understand other people's experience, not to make
mhm,
their own mistakes. Maybe it will help them.
yeah. That's my best performing content. So we have 10 CEOs that we post for every time, especially the more unusual it is for that CEO to do it, whenever they're vulnerable and share a lesson, those posts are the most engaging and also the best responses from like people that are friends saying, I really enjoyed that. It helped me because people need to see that story. So we see it in our data too.
Yeah, sure. And that's also about making your employees your ambassadors because they also share this piece of information to their LinkedIn's. And sometimes people who are not following your studio's LinkedIn profile, they follow your employees because I don't know, they just have known each other at the conferences or some kind of any
Exactly.
other activities. And they can see also the updates, and that creates more buzz and more just a penetration of your brand into the social media landscape.
Love it. Okay, Anastasia, I want your idea on my rebrand and then we can go into the big thing.
Yeah, you just can reach out to me and talk to me. So if you have any questions or any
Oh,
doubts,
I have it now. I want to show you my plan. I'm going to, because by the time this podcast goes out, I probably would have already done it. And I'm curious if we can see what we could do.
let's make a roast of your LinkedIn.
Yeah, great. So this is what I think I should do. and I will share what we're currently doing first. So that's where I want to go, and I want to for people at home as well. So I've never
Does
done this.
your hat on the logo?
I think I'm going to retire the hat, and I want your opinion on that too. I think last year is the last year of the hat. I think it has to go.
But you have really nice hair, so
Yeah,
you,
it's
you
gonna get. I'm gonna
not
get a
sure.
haircut tomorrow, but my thinking is okay. And this is actually I've never done this to my podcast audience, so maybe people can get to know what we actually do here. So this is the podcast. So
Yeah.
this is the brand, and it will stay as a brand, the gaming playbook. Cool. And the
Oh,
way my business works is I want to make it so I'm helping people who are professionals in the games industry meet the people they want to be and also learn as much as possible. So the business that makes money, at least for me, it needs to change. It's just my surname, and it's a ghostwriting marketing agency. But we help the same people, right? We help people in the games industry. What I
okay.
started, which is the events, is Hivemind World. So Hivemind World is the idea of doing these mixers together with people in real life. So we're doing one big one in London, and this is my kind of new brand. But then I had no idea why I haven't thought about this before. But why don't I just combine all these brands? So in my
You know,
head,
it's really hard. Actually, that's another point that we haven't touched yet. But
let's do it.
the
Take
point
the
is
floor.
that when you start making brand, you don't need to start from the very beginning every time. For example, for a studio, if you already released a really great game and you didn't work on your brand before, that when you release the another game, people they do not know what was the producer of the game, who created it, who designed it, and they will treat your next game as like a separate
Mm,
project. But if you are working on your studio's brand, and also like we all know that Angry Birds is from Rovio, yeah.
yeah. And if an Angry Birds title came out, you would
Yeah.
think, this is probably Rovio. But also, if a new Rovio title came out
Yeah.
that wasn't Angry Birds, you would attach it with the positive things.
Yeah. So actually, that's what I see here, that you have started completely another brand. So you need to make more efforts to make it visible for people, make it, like try to promote it on your socials, for example,
So
because
I've been
it's
doing that with
sorry.
content. My thinking is Foku Digital just becomes Hivemind Marketing. And then the podcast eventually goes under Hivemind News. And then Hivemind Academy is anything coaching, which right now is just in my personal name. And for me, I'm like, have I solved it? Everything makes sense?
You should think about it, because news is something that's new and something which is updated really quickly. But
So
podcasts,
my idea for that is to hire a writer that will do a daily news article, and then the gaming podcast will be a Hivemind news show. But I will not launch this brand unless I hire someone who can do that. That's my thinking.
I understand. Okay. Yeah, because what was the point? I mean, the podcast is something that which is pre-recorded, and sometimes you need time to
Of course,
I don't
yeah.
know, just edit it, to create the whole story, to make them like shorts or reels, or anywhere you
We
can
maybe
find.
keep it as its own brand, and then these can do what they want to do, and maybe chill on Hivemind News.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have to launch effectively a rebrand of Foku here, and this is going to be probably in March. So that's maybe plenty of brands for Q1 to
Yeah.
reintroduce into the market.
That's actually a really important thing, that sometimes when people think about brand, they think that that's something they can do in a short period of time.
Yeah, that's
I know,
me. That's
invest
me.
money, and everyone will know about your brand, but that's not true, because brand is something which is really long-term activity, because you invest in your brand every day. Every time you're speaking about your company, every time your employees are speaking about your company, every time you create every new piece of content, it should be the starting point for your brand knowledge, because like we have Google, we have ChatGPT, we have Gemini. So we are caring right now not just about the search, but we are caring about generative search content. Yeah, so
And that's
uh,
based on sources, which is even a LinkedIn post, Reddit post. So that's interesting. I didn't think of it like that. So like by creating content on company pages, you get the added benefit of like generated engine optimization, I guess they call it. But before it was all website, right? It was only web searches.
no, it
So
was
it's
just like
actually
PR, like media activities, and also brand search. And most of people, they think about this like it's. I would say it's outdated. People think that probably we can do our own website or go to media and post the article here about our company. But now we have generated content, so you also need to create more. Information, more articles, more posts on Reddit, for example, because I have seen Reddit is like say quoted in
I
ChatGPT.
think there was a report. It's like a
Yeah,
stupid. It's the highest cited website, maybe. Like it was something I saw.
yeah,
LinkedIn's very high, but Reddit's higher.
yeah. So you have other options to promote your brand, and you also need to think about this. So
Yeah.
by creating content, if you are not explaining people what you are doing, what's your mission, what's your vision, for example, you just miss this opportunity.
What if we talk about logistics? Because I'm a small team, so I have an event manager, and her role is to run the company page for Hivemind, but she
Mhm.
has event manager stuff to do. So basically, it's two roles. Well, in a lot of people listening to this might be like, this is great, guys, but I have no time and no money to start posting on my company page. So I'm wondering, how do you feel? Should this be a standalone role, or is it okay to kind of add this as a responsibility to someone?
You know, I
It's a
think
tricky
we
one.
are entering the age of shared responsibilities. And sharing economy is not just for, I don't know, for clothes, for flats, or for cars, like vehicles. Sharing economy should be applied to employees. Because,
Really?
sometimes your company have lots of tasks. Sometimes, for example, before or right after the release, you don't have many tasks to do. Your employees, some kind of employees, yeah, some kind of departments maybe,
Yeah.
and
Like
you're
anything
just
launch based, right? Like
in
there's going to be a downtime.
yeah, so probably you can share these employees or departments with your like other partners or help others to do something really important. And I'm not sure that in future, maybe in 5 or 10 years, we're going to work for dedicated companies because I think we will be treating ourselves as entrepreneurs who are selling their time to different companies, something like this.
Yeah. I mean, that's how
'Cause-
I run my business. So I'm with you there. I think like it's interesting though, because the person who most recently joined my company, she stated she's been basically what you said. She sold her time to different companies for the last 10 years. And she read my job description. And I knew her from a year ago. She said, this sounds great. I can have one job and not have to look for more work. So it's like some people are ready for that. And then there's some people who want the ability to change environments. But also, I think what you said is important. Like with this new age, it's also, dare I say, a bit fun to not have to do one thing all the time. Like maybe it's a nice break to do an article or a piece of content. Like it's not a break as in it's still work, but it's like mental break. It's a different part of the brain. So I like the idea of, I guess, making it part of the job, but and giving them the support they need rather than, because I haven't done that with my writers, but now that I'm thinking about it, why not?
I think it's just the artificial intelligence speeded up our evolution in some way. Because you have a really great tool that could help you probably to make your job faster than
Yeah.
ever. So why to spend the time sitting on the table and waiting for some tasks to be given to you by your team leads if you can do another job and make more money for yourself, for example, or learn new things. It's also great
Yeah.
opportunity, also great benefit of working for multiple companies, for example.
Yeah. I think you can do multiple companies or also even multiple departments in one company if you wanted to. Like you could
Because
show
we
up.
as employees, we're really limited in the company. And if you work for a big corporation, you have a number of tasks set for you, and you can't do more, because if you do more, then you will disturb other people's tasks.
Yeah, it depends on the culture, right? Like I'm wondering, I'm trying to avoid that culture, right? If you add value to the company, there will be a way to do it. But I guess it's easier when it's 10 people and it's going to be harder when it's 1,000.
Just
I don't know.
imagine if you have a, for example, um, like a profile created for employee with the help of artificial intelligence, and you know all the skills benefits, like what profit you can make with this employee, other responsibilities like he or she can share also. Then you can speed up your development process. You can create more value
Mhm.
for a business. You can make more money for a business. So why not?
I want to take this back to gaming. I guess, like, how does not having a studio brand maybe affect a studio? So someone might be listening to this and thinking, this sounds like purely positive, but I'm wondering, is there anything that affects studios like not having a brand that maybe does something that people don't expect?
I would say that you don't have brands, so you don't have a description of what you're doing. You do not know where you are going right now. Your employees will be frustrated, and they will work slower. They will work. They just do not see any processes, so they can't understand what to improve. They will.
That's very important. I've been doing massive investment for me to learn personally, like on processes. I realized I was expecting the impossible last year. Like,
You will
go
hire
figure it out.
employees who are working for job for money, not thinking about the mission, the goals, the vision of the company. So just those who are like, just pay me and I will do my job and close my laptop at 6 p.m. and that's all. No dedication, no partners, because you know that people like we have a really big market right now, and people they really want to work with the best ones because they want to make a portfolio for themselves. Yeah, like B2B companies, they add logos and the brands of great companies. They create user cases because they know if they create a user case, then other companies will see this, because creates trust. If you have no trust, every time you start with the very beginning, there are numerous researches that companies that were investing in brand, they make 10 to 20% more money in future because they have created this kind of trust, and people understand what to expect from this company, what kind of products it can produce, what kind of employees it can give to the market, for example. You
Yeah.
know that even people who have worked for like AAA companies or like really great companies, the companies that show some kind of results, and when you hire employees from those companies, you understand what to expect in some way, because you understand if a person worked like 3 4 years for a big company, so that person should know processes, should understand how business works, should understand I don't know, like how infrastructure works, how to um, make the things going better. So you just understand what to expect. That's what trust is. It's not just logo and colors. It's a feeling
Nice.
of how you knew how this company worked.
It's yes. If I feel good listening to you because I remember last year I just never thought about this because my company was Foku Digital and you're working with Harry Foku. And then when I hired someone, I said, you're working now with Frank. But when you keep going, you can't just say, okay, who's Frank or who's Chris? It's now very different when I say the team. And the team has these standards, right? And everyone speaks and cares in a similar way. And we have that internally. But like you said, when you have a partnership with another company, mentally people are saying, oh, these companies have agreed to work together. That means this brand with these values has not gone to these brands with these values, which is another plus sign. And you
You know
won't
what?
have that feeling if you have a good brand, right?
Mhm. And you know what's more curious? Like we are, as a person, for example, I can have multiple social masks that I show to different people. We are all doing this. For some people, you are, I don't know, like a brother. For someone, you're a husband. So for someone, you're a son. So you're doing like differently. You are communicating differently to different people. And when you hire a person, you understand that in every person there is like a dual system. We have some positive things and negative things inside us. And when you go to the toxic company, toxic culture, for example, or a company that uh, die trying or get rich
Yeah.
culture, you can easily adapt to it. And if you go to the company where everyone is relaxed and people are, for example, aiming to be creative, aiming to be tolerant, so you can adapt to this culture. But what we have here in both cases is a clarity that this company is toxic, get rich or die trying, and another company is let's relax together and make something creative. And when you go to this kind of company and you have understanding that the brand of this company is stands for relaxed job, really tolerant, like a team that helps you to develop yourself as a personality, then you will understand how things are built in this company. Yeah. So that's also another thing that brand help you to build teams.
Yeah, because you get more proactive teams, I feel, when you have the second example, because why would you not want to help your company? If you feel good, you want other people in your team to feel good. But if I was in the first example, good or bad, morally, but why would you do anything apart from making more money for yourself?
Yeah.
What's the point? Like, you're not here to improve their situation because you are clear it's not going to improve. But the other one, where these people are investing in me, I will invest in them. I will come up with new ideas. I will maybe, instead of saying nothing, give feedback, because I feel comfortable giving feedback. Like, it's, I'll use the word, it's powerful how important brand is in many different areas where it's also, at least for me, there's no school on this usually. People develop a game, they start marketing it, and then someone else will eventually tell them, hey, by the way, have you thought about this? Like, no. It's like, yeah, I feel like it's really important that we're talking about it. I just, yeah, not really a question, just feels good.
Like the same thing, we're talking mostly about the employees, but the same thing goes to the player experience because brand thinking defines not just who the player is, but the emotional state they get when they are trying your products. And that kind
Agree.
of experience really gives them the trust that you can deliver this emotional state or emotional experience that they get after playing your products. Because you understand that when you are, for example, playing EA games products, it's a kind of activity like challenging, it's sport, it's emotions. When you are playing, for example, ZiMAD's jigsaw puzzle, then you understand that you should feel relaxed, that you work on your cognitive functions, that you sharpen your brain because it's relaxing, but still puzzles by multiple researchers, for example, prevent from Alzheimer's disease. So you just understand what's your, as a player, what's your benefit and what's your outcome of playing this game. And when the studio had this clarity on what experience you should have after touching the products of studio, then after releasing every new game, your players would understand what you stand for, what's your vision, what's your goals, and what they get after playing your games.
I wonder if that shapes their behavior too. And that's why you have toxic fan bases and
Yeah.
nice fan bases.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there is a research of people who join the community, like toxic communities, start to, to copy the behavior of the community
Yeah.
to have this feeling of belonging to something. That's
Yeah,
why I
which
talked
is
before about the social masks. because we have multiple social media. Sometimes we can, like, even when we go to the kind of, community, we start acting in some other way because we accumulate the experience of other community members. uh, they say it's like five closest friends that you have, and
Yeah.
you are changing your behavior also.
And this is, I feel, important with my business hat on, is if that environment or behavior is toxic to new people or maybe not as helpful, then that's not probably the best onboarding. That's probably not the best retention hack, right? If your brand doesn't combat like this negativity, right, or this negative feeling, and maybe there's not enough engagement, like that will affect how your players play the game and treat other players if there's any sort of
Yeah,
community, which
sure,
is something
sure,
that, yeah,
sure.
really cool.
Especially you can see it clearly when you have Discord, because like there is a big community, and you can give the roles to other community members to moderate, for example, and you usually um, see how people behave, and if you want your community to be really positive and relaxed, so the moderators will be like this. And that's a clear strategy because you'll understand that your game, for example, is about relaxation, so you do not take toxic people to moderate your community. You take those ones who are shaping this brand strategy. And sometimes people even don't understand that's also a part of brand strategy. They think that I have this game, so I have these moderators, and my community should look like this. But that's also a brand strategy.
Yeah, like every decision, like you say, results in all these trickle down effects, whether it's
Yeah.
who's going to be running the onboarding in the first week of your company or who's running the community, right? It all
You're
changes.
100% sure. When you have a doc of doctrine, or you can name it like in any other way, but the reality is still the same. When you have a document like a foundation document, so you don't have this kind of friction, you have full understanding, and you're sure about what you are doing. And that's the main point of all of this.
If this is a stupid question, tell me. I wrote my values down for myself in like a LinkedIn post a month ago. So what I want to do is I want to make some money and then make a bunch of babies. So if I make money, I'll have more time to spend with my kids. And then I thought, what if that is my purpose, where I enable other people to do that, right? They can make more money. They can then, if they want the family, have a family, and then they can spend time with their family. So I
Congratulations,
tried to write,
an entrepreneur. That's entrepreneur mind, where you understand it's not just about you, but it's also about the team members, or the possibility that you give other people to make money and to have
yeah,
longer and happier life.
yeah, because if they do that, they might join my team or they might become my clients, right?
Sure.
So I wrote those as my company values. And I am now, my company values is roughly like we want to enable as many families as possible to have that experience. So we don't want to be taking time unnecessarily from our team, but also our clients. And I wrote three values, and I have my mission, which is to enable. I wrote the number 10,000 families to have emotionally and financially secure lives. And now that I wrote that down, it felt really good. I shared it with the team, and I'm like, okay, now what? Like, do I have to remind people? Do I need to attach those things to behaviors? It felt really good writing them. I just kind of like now running the business Monday to Friday, and I stopped thinking about it. And I don't want to be that guy, right? Who there's value somewhere in a Google Doc somewhere, but like people don't feel it. So I'm wondering, what's your approach with this? Like, how do you continue to, after you do a branding exercise, like actually keep that brand and vision?
Yeah, it's more about like going back every time and sticking to the decision made. For example, you like I'm creating a new post, or we decided to create a series of posts that you're gonna see next month.
Nice.
And we just examine this kind of content before we publish it on the points that we agreed on. Like, does it meet the strategy that we have created before? Does it
So when you say strategy, do you mean not only business, but like the brand strategy? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I mean the brand strategy, the content strategy, which is based on brand strategy.
Mm.
So we just ask ourselves, will this post bring us this, that, or that we agreed before, that is stated in our.
And they all come down from, I guess,
Yeah.
the vision and the company brand. So
You can create, for example, first to to not to try to meet the bigger goals. So you can just make really tiny goals. For example, for first you are creating or like small steps in between the brand strategy and the initial post on social media. You can create a content strategy which helps you to redesign all these messages that you have in brand strategy and get more practical view of how you really do it. Because
hmm.
brand strategy is sometimes more about the philosophy of
I try
how.
to add the action in the value. So I don't know if I've solved it or if I've done it wrong, but my head is like, to get that to happen, we need to make sure we don't do behaviors that
Yeah,
spend
yeah.
time or don't do
You
results.
already think about this. You already think in the perspective of your brand strategy. So if you want people to have more time with their families and to make more money, you will never ask them, for example, to join the call at, I don't know, like 11 p.m. Yeah, because it just ruins your strategy. And
Hmm.
that's actually the culture of these small actions that will lead you to
Should we
wonders.
write those down? Or should we just, like, should I write down the behaviors that we expect as examples? Like, or should we just live them? I'm just trying to think.
Yeah, I would actually I would write down everything that is, really vital and really important because every time you have a new employee, you don't need to think about is he or she informed of what's going on. You just
Mm.
share the
Do they know what I
document.
meant by this?
Yeah, yeah,
I
you
can
just
just
share
be
the
like, this is
document.
the behaviors.
Yeah, maybe it's notes, maybe it's a presentation, maybe it's some kind of one pager, but you have already it written and you do not need to think about it like every time. Okay, I have new employees, so I need to explain this. No, you just share the documents. You can have a small call, like 30 minutes conversation on the action points or to understand if new employee understands everything right in the way you designed it to
When you
be.
say new employee, I have 12 interviews coming up for a new writer. Would you share this in the interview process?
I would say the high level things, yes, because
Okay.
it helps you to understand is
Like
it
the
the
vision.
right, yeah, is it the right person for you to join? For example, and there is actually a question that should be clarified before.
Hmm.
Is it important for you that your new employee will fit your vision? Or is it important for you that the new employee is a strong professional in the field? Because sometimes
The
it does.
first one, because if it's not, because in my head, I would like to hire someone who will stay for a long time. If they do leave because they got a better opportunity, God bless them. But if they don't care about the vision, then that guarantees they won't want to stay, right? Like that's how I think about it.
The most important way right now because people can learn if they have the ability to learn fast. They have artificial intelligence that they can learn anything,
Yeah.
like anything. And it doesn't matter if you have a really great experience. Your experience sometimes could be not relevant for nowadays situation. So we see the market
Honestly,
evolving.
the experience I'm looking for is how they react to challenges. It's not necessarily how they perform the work. It's like, are you used to having 10 to 20 pieces of content to write a month? If it's not amazing content, that's like, we can probably train that eventually. But like, the main thing is like, I guess, work capacity is more what I'm looking for. Like, when I think about the people that did well in the past interviews, it was just people who aren't afraid of just doing an amount of work. I don't care how long it takes. Just like, this isn't going to be a situation where you have 2 days to think about how to write this article. Like, we need this to go out, that type of energy. So, yeah, I think if I'm on the final interview stage, so we're doing a interview with my CEO and then a task, and then I'll be on the final interview. I think for that one, I will probably focus more on what we talked about today because it's the stuff I can't change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually have a brand strategy, so you just need to write it down and
Yeah.
distribute
I,
across all the team members.
it's on. it's I haven't even got it anywhere apart from a LinkedIn post a month ago. So I need to go find that LinkedIn post and put it somewhere, maybe on the
Actually,
website.
that's also a big mistake thinking that if you have made a LinkedIn post, then
Yeah,
people know
5 people
about
saw
it.
it. Yeah,
Because you can make like 5 times the post on the same thing, and not all your followers will see it, definitely. So don't be afraid to say something again, because sometimes
absolutely.
people are feeling a bit, maybe sometimes awkward or frustrated when they are repeating things. But that's actually our world. We need to repeat the things so people will understand you. They will see your dedication, they will see your focus, and understand what's going on inside your company.
100%. And we see that with our clients. I have to remind them of that. Like they say, we've talked about this a month ago. I'm like, okay, not only is this a new angle, 5% of the people will see that again, most likely. And I think people remember it's not copy paste usually, but sometimes that even works. But it's literally like it could be a new way to tell the message, but this way actually resonates this time. So, like,
Yeah,
for example, yeah,
the context has already changed. I mean, the market, the situation, the
might be
cultural
reading it while
yes,
actually not being drunk. Like, they might just read it in a better state, right?
yeah, totally makes
Right.
sense.
Lovely. And I said, yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation. I always end with, is there anything you feel like we haven't covered today that you'd want to share with people listening to this chat?
I think like any questions could be addressed to me in my LinkedIn. So yeah, if you have any thoughts, or maybe someone is thinking in some different way, so I would be happy to communicate more on this topic, because I'm really excited about it. And wishing you all the best with your branding and your upcoming tasks.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really good at planning, and then I have to actually do it, and then we'll see what happens. But you will see something in the next 2 months, fingers crossed.
Cool.
Sweet. So for everyone at home, please look in the description wherever you're watching this. You can find Anastasia's details. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks
And
for having me.
also, final reminder: game designer, you're hiring.
Yeah, game designer for board and card games. If you feel that you have strong abilities to create some kind of such kind of projects, or you're a card player from your childhood, for example, and you know how to engage people and how to retain them, so welcome to our team.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Alrighty. Goodbye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.